we are doing chapter 1.9, divide with decimals. So the objective is I can fluently divide decimals by another decimal by using the method move the decimal over, then bring it up. So key parts here is that we're doing a decimal divided by another decimal, and that you're using two methods, two parts to this method to solve that. So you're going to move the decimal over, then bring it up, just like we did last chapter, or last lesson. So last lesson we just brought it up. We would just bring the decimal. First we have to move the decimal over. So I'm going to underline that, because that's the difference between last lesson and this lesson, and the fact that we're dividing by decimals, not by whole numbers. So unlock the problem, no vocab or reminders. Example, this is not an example, this is unlock the problem. And let's do divide 66.5 divided by 3.5. So first I need to set this up. So I start with what the number 66.5 divided by 3.5. And now I need to first bring my decimals over to make this number a whole number. And what I do to there, I have to do to here. So I'm going to rewrite my problem now as 35 dividing 665. My decimals here now. And now I can start solving like normal. So 35 can go into 66, so I break it down. Looking at 66 first. 35 plus 35 is 70, so I know it can't be 2, so it has to be 1. So 6 minus 5 is 1, and 6 minus 3 is 3, so I'm left with 31. That won't work, so I gotta bring my 5 down. Now I have to figure out how many times can I multiply a number by 35, and how close can I get to 315? Well, I know I multiply it by 5, so I want to think about a number that I can multiply by 5 to get 5. So let's just try 5. 5 times 5 is 25. And 5 times 3 is 15, plus 1, 2. 175. That's not nearly close enough. So I still need a number that can end in 5. So let's try 7. 5 times 7 is 35. And 7 times 3 is 21. Plus 3 is 1, 1, 2, 3, 24. So that's pretty close. So I'm going to keep that on the side while I check if this will work, if I can go up to 8, if I can get any closer. So 35 times 8. 5 times 8 is 40. And 8 times 3 is 24. Pardon me. And 24 plus 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 28. Oops. And that's the closest. I can't go any closer than that. I think it'd go over. Let's see if it would go over. 8 plus 3 is 1, 2, 3 is 11. Carry the 1. Oh, that works. So we have an exact answer. So since I added an extra 35 here, 9 times 35 is 315. So I have a 9 here. I have 315. So my final answer is 19. All right, let's jump into, oh, you can't see anything I just did you? Okay, so let's jump into steps. All right, so step one is to set up the problem. So if we're given 6.5 divided by 3.5, to set that up, it would be, set it up just like you say it, 6.5 divided by 3.5. And step 2, let me focus this. Step 2 is to make the divisor a whole number. So you need to make the divisor, this is our divisor, a whole number by moving the decimal over. So remember, moving the decimal over is the same as multiplying the decimal by 10 or 100 or 1000 or whatever number you need. So let's talk about that. So we have 3.5. We want to make it a whole number, so we're going to move it over one time. That's the same as multiplying by 10 because there's 1 0 here. So when there's 1 0, you move the decimal over one time. So our new number we're working with is 35, and our decimal is there. Step 3 is to move the decimal of the dividend over the same amount as the divisor. So the same amount that we moved up here when we moved the dividend or the divisor, we have to do to the dividend. So our dividend is 66.5, and technically we're only moving it over once, so that's the same as multiplying by 10. And then we have 665 as our new whole number. And then we need to rewrite our problem. So when we rewrite our problem, our new dividend is 665 divided by 35. So the whole point is we make this number a whole number. So now it's a whole number, which is 35. And step 5 is to just begin dividing. So we already did the division for this, and when we did, I'm sorry, I'm trying to make this. When we divided, we got 19. So those are our steps. The biggest thing you need to focus on, I think, would be moving these decimals over. What you do to the divisor, you do to the dividend. That's the most important part because we need our divisor to be a whole number. So let's do some examples. So this will be example 1, and we will do 17.25 divided by 5.75. All right, so step 1 is set up our problem. So 17.25 divided by 5.75. Step 2 is to change our divisor into a whole number. So 5.75, move it over behind the 7, our decimal's here now. Now I move it behind the 5 and our decimal's here. That's the same as multiplying by 100 because you have 2 zeros, so you move it over 2 times. So our new number is 575 with a decimal back here. Step 3 is to change our dividend now. So the same amount that we moved our decimal for the divisor, we need to do for the dividend. So we moved it over 2 times here, and we moved it over 2 times here, which is the same as multiplying by 100 because there's 2 zeros. So our new number is 1,725. And when we divide, we get, well, now we need to rewrite the problem with the new numbers. So our divisor is 575, and it's dividing 1,725. And I know 575 cannot go into 1, cannot go into 17, cannot go into 172, but it probably can go into something close to 1,725. So I want to think about what I can multiply to get a 5. So it's always nice just to start with 5. It's always a good number to start with, I like. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 7 is 35. Plus 2 is 37. 5 times 5 is 25. Plus 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's too big. So we know we can't go any bigger than 5. What can I use? So I can say I know that 500, if this was 500 multiplied by 2, I'd get 1,000. So maybe I can do 575 multiplied by 2. See what we get. It would be 10 carry the 1. 2 times 7 is 14 plus 1 is 15. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11. I think we can go a little bit higher than that. So let's try 3. 3 times 5 is 15, carry the 1. 3 times 5, or 3 times 7 actually, is 21 plus 2 is 22, carry the 2. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1, 2 is 17. And hey, we got an exact number. So 575 times 3 gives you 1,725. So our final answer is 3. And we don't need to move our decimals back because we've moved them out now, so we just have our final answer. Now let's do another example. This time we're going to do 37.8 divided by 0.14. All right, so set up our problem. 37.8 divided by 0.14. Now I need to change this to a whole number. So we have 0.14 times 10. It's moving, times 100. It's moving over 2 times. Because there's 2 zeros. So now our whole number is 14. And what we do to the divisor, we have to do to the dividend. So we have 37.8 times 100. We have to do the same thing. So we have to move this over 2 times. So our new number, our whole number is 3,780. And I got this 0. Sorry, how rude of me. Got this 0 because I need to add in this invisible 0 here. So I'm moving my decimal over 2 times, and my decimal is here. I have to add that 0 in. So my decimal is here now. So I need to set up that as a division problem. So my dividend is 3,780 divided by 14. And 14 times 2 is 28. And I think if I would did 14 times 3, it would be too big. It would be, yeah, it would be 42. So that's too big. So we'll do 2. It's 28. And then 7 minus that doesn't work. So 17 minus 8 is 9. And we need to bring down our 8. So I know I need to go bigger than 3, right? If we're doing 14 can go into 98. We can do 14 times 7, because 14 times 7 is 28, which gives us the 8 we're looking for here. And 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. Oh, we give us an exact answer. And then we can bring our 0 down. And 14 goes into 0 0 times. And we're left with 0. And that gives us our final answer, which would be 270. All right, let's do another one. We'll do one more. All right, so let's do example 3. 25.83 divided by 6.3. And we set this up into our division problem, which would be 25.83 divided by 6.3. Now we need to change our divisor into whole number, so 6.3, we're moving it over 1 time, which is the same as multiplying by 10, because there's 1 0. And our new number is 63. Now we need to change our dividend, which is 25.83. And what we do here, we have to do exactly here. So we move it over 1 time, which is the same as multiplying by 10. And that gives us 258.3. So this is important because what we care about is the divisor being a whole number. The dividend doesn't matter. The dividend could be a decimal. So let's set that up with our new numbers. So now we have 258.3 divided by 63. And we would divide like normal. So 63 can't go into 2, can't go into 25, but it can probably go into 258 a few times. So let's see how many times. Can you multiply anything by 3 to get 8? To get something with the 8? Yeah, you can multiply 3 by 6. So let's try that. Gives us 18, carry the 1, but 6 times 6 is 12. So 12, no, 6 times 6 is not 12. 6 times 6 is 36. Plus 1 is 37. So that's too big. That's bigger than 258. So let's try 4 maybe. 3 times 2, oh Lord, 3 times 4 is 12, and 4 times 6 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Oh, so that's the closest we can get without going over. So we have 4 is 452. 8 minus 2 is 6. 5 minus 5 is 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. Bring down our 63. Oh, I forgot something. What did I forget? This is a mistake you can do. If you're too into the division problem, you may make this mistake also. Which is, I have my decimal here, and I did the problem until the decimal, now I need to bring it up. And I have 1. So my final answer is 4.1. So this is what step 6 is, because if we go back and look at step 6, it was to bring the decimal up if necessary. So that's what's here. We needed to bring the decimal up because when we changed our divisor to a whole number, became 63, and we changed our dividend, it doesn't matter if the dividend is a whole number. It just matters that whatever you do to the divisor, you do to the dividend. So we had to move this over once. And we still had a decimal in our dividend, which means you divide like you normally would, bring your decimal up. And that is it for today.